This is Evan Thomas from the class of 2021.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Today's conversation with Evan is brought to us in part through the ongoing support of 2008 graduate Matt Cox and his company, Saxon Properties. If you or anyone you know have a house you want to sell, but don't feel like dealing with the hassle of doing repairs or hiring a realtor, go to saucetownproperties.net to get a fair cash offer today. And today we are joined by 2021 graduate Evan Thomas. Evan's years at South were full of winning choir championships, serving in leadership positions in and out of school, playing soccer, being a class officer, and so much more. He's since graduated from Oregon State University with a degree in psychology and a minor in human development and family sciences. Evan's now working as a qualified mental health associate while he studies at Corbin University, all aiming at earning his master's in clinical counseling to one day serve as a licensed professional counselor. Evan, welcome to your time in the spotlight. Man, it's so good to be with you.
Thank you. I really appreciate being here and catching up with you. This is great.
Yeah, absolutely. Our years overlapped pretty well as you came in. I know my dad gave me a heads up that you were coming in and just an amazing student coming in from Judson. And so tell us about your years as a Saxon, what you remember, what you hold near and dear to your heart.
Gosh, it feels like it's been years and years, but I just remember being a Saxon. I'm not the biggest morning person, but it was easy to roll out of bed, come to school, and I loved learning. Some of the best courses I've taken here at South were just basically almost every day.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
What is it about our South classes, our South community? What was it that made it so special?
It was very inviting, and I think you have a wide array of like-minded students who want to be successful in the future. And when it comes to that in the classroom, it's just really authentic to basically just share and learn together. I think I took a lot from that and meeting new people, making new friends, and lifelong friends that I'll always have.
Yeah. And you were part of our choir program. What is it about choir here at South too that's so special?
It's just, it's such an elite tier. I would say, I mean, we basically won first each year since I joined symphonic choir, and that was an incredible experience. The fellowship and the stewardship of upperclassmen, helping to foster the growth and development of newcoming students. It felt like a family more than just a class, and I took so much from that, so many life lessons.
Yeah, choir and our music programs in general have always been mentioned. Anytime I'm doing these interviews, these spotlights, they come up as something that was so integral to the students who have graduated and their experiences of, South is not the community that it is without their experiences that they had in those choir or music programs. It's a level of excellence. Like you said, it's an elite tier that distinguishes itself from so many other high schools throughout Salem. So I'm so glad that you had that experience too. Yeah. Tell us more about just your years as a Saxon. What do you remember? Any great memories with teachers? Any great memories with programs you were involved in?
I mean, I loved choir. When I first joined, I had Mr. William McLean, who has gone on to do so many great things and continuing his education after, and even the instructors that followed him. Nothing but positive experiences in the midst of all of hardship, even outside of choir. It was just a belongingness, a sense of togetherness, and it helped me prevent being alone. And I think a lot of other students who have maybe encountered similar experiences.
If you're comfortable, share a little bit about what life was like right before you started at South and the hardship that you mentioned.
Yeah, so I was 13 years old when my mom passed away unexpectedly. And at Judson, I was super involved with choir, and I'd say a similar experience, just on a different level. But I felt so overjoyed to have such a great community come and support me. My choir teacher in middle school, actually, he's a family friend of ours, and he enabled us and the jazz choir to come sing at my mom's memorial service. So that just hit me so hard, and I knew that I had to keep continuing choir, and that's kind of how I met you, Mr. Marshall. Even though you weren't my alphabetically designated counselor, you reached out to me and a handful of other individuals, and we had our grief group for about 4 years, basically the entire time I was here at South, and man, that was not only helped me and all those other individuals, but it's just key staff members who go the extra mile, and you helped inspired me to pursue this career in counseling. Yeah.
Oh man, that means the world to me. And I have such great memories as hard as those moments where we went deep as a group.
Yeah, we
And
did.
that's 4 years that I look back on. And just this summer, was thinking through, okay, what does this school year look like for me? And one of the things that one of my very first priorities was we got to get grief group going early and going
Mhm.
strong. So the other counselor and I who lead that group now here, we just met last week. We've got the students identified who I think we can continue supporting. And what I loved about your group in particular was that it started as grief, but really turned into this life group. It
It
turned
did.
into this opportunity for us to connect, to use grief as the way to connect, but to see so much deeper in each other and find ways to support each other. Every single one of those dudes, especially as it morphed in kind of
Yeah.
this dudes group, that those guys I think about often and wonder how they're doing. And so it's just so good to connect with you here. Can you speak a little bit about what that experience was in that group? What was it about coming together that made it so special?
Where do I start? I mean, not only was it like a wide array of background, you had upperclassmen and even new coming freshmen, people who knew each other, people who were basically strangers. And it's hard to be super vulnerable and share your story with other classmates, other students, and even like other people with kind of the biggest struggles you have. And kind of like you touched, it became kind of like it evolved from a grief group to kind of like a life group. So I think being for all of us within that group and even as new members joined, it was intense in the beginning, but we no matter where we were at in our grief journey and even our mental health, we progressed kind of together as a unit, and that's what I loved, and it basically turned into that life group. We were like, "Yeah, I know this person's story, and if we need to talk, then we're gonna talk together." Like, since we moved through our grief together, we all felt like we were a place super comfortable where it was basically just like friends hanging out. And yeah, we would dabble around if, hey, we're struggling with this, or if there's some relapse or reoccurring grief that's been going on. But for the most part, we were cohesive together, and I loved that.
I loved it too. And it's still something that those same knuckleheads that whenever I run into them outside of school, it's the first thing they bring up is that group and
Yeah.
wondering how each of you are doing. And so just to be able to continue that connection beyond our school walls has been really impactful in my own life and my own profession as well. I'm curious for you, having known loss and having known grief so intimately and in such a sacred way, what would you share with the students who are just starting that journey now?
It's uncomfortable and it's not easy to sit in your own discomfort, but inevitably you have to face those really challenging and deeply emotional challenges or issues that are really difficult to face. And I would say come close together with some really close friends, family, or even groups kind of like this because you have to face it at some point.
Yeah.
And I what helped me was you have to challenge your own personal, like, circumstance or point in the sense of, "How can I make this a strength of mine where I can reach other people?"
Yeah, you mentioned it's part of what's propelled you into the work you're doing now. Talk about your journey into Oregon State and how you landed on what you studied, your major, your minor, psychology, and now working on your master's. What's that journey been like?
Definitely, I mean, when I first started at Oregon State, you have, like, the intro psych courses and a lot of the back core that you just have to do, but it the biggest change from high school to college for me, an application to my own personal journey is it takes a lot of agency. You're in control of your schedule. It's not like coming to high school every day from I don't know what time it starts and ends now, but let's just say like 7:30 to 2:30. So I don't know. Your schedule is different every day. So it takes a lot of personal agency and responsibility if I want to be successful and it's in my hands. and you progress throughout the upper division courses. And a lot of those courses relate to my minor in human development and family sciences. So I basically had to take a handful of those courses anyways for my majors. And I took a lot from those classes. It's different than master's level, I would say, but for undergrad, you go deep enough to where you have a firm enough understanding. Yeah, it's great. It takes a lot of hard work. Like I said, personal agency. You have to hold yourself accountable to an extent, but it is very rewarding in the sense of not only better understanding how you can support people around you, but also how can I support myself? And do I fall into some of these categories of maybe these are issues I need to bring up with myself and inevitably have to face those things?
Yeah, we've touched a little bit on it so far, but mental health is something that's super important to you. And I'm curious, what message would you want anyone listening to hear about mental health?
I think no matter where your background is or your education in mental health, it's real. And the thoughts that you have about yourself is how you portray the world.
Mm.
So if you have all this negative self-talk towards yourself, I'm overcritical of myself. If I don't get a good enough grade on something, I don't attack myself, but I hold myself accountable
Yeah,
to an
absolutely.
extent.
Same.
That inevitably influences your thoughts, your actions, and behaviors to the world and the people around you. And I think that being aware of those things, again, you're faced with a problem, but you're also faced with an opportunity to face those things. And is this really how I want to talk to myself? I mean, it's good to have standards, especially in an educational setting, but do I want to treat myself in the way that I hold my standards onto someone else? And when it comes to mental health, it's important to connect with professionals like yourself, Brian, or even family and friends that you feel most trusted and being like, hey, I'm going to raise my hand and say that I'm really struggling with this. I don't know what the solution looks like, or I don't know the steps to get where I want to be, but I'm willing to challenge myself and take those steps because I want to change where I'm at now.
Yeah, and I love that you get to be that person for someone and for future clients from here on. What is it that led directly to being a counselor and the work that you're doing right now, the school work that you're doing, and eventually get to have your own practice?
Definitely. I mean, actually, a lot of it did come from you
Oh,
in that grief group. I know we're going back to that, but
oh, that's too kind.
we had another conversation we both know this individual. We went to I think it was a wedding reception or
Mhm.
something. And I don't know the exact quote, but you basically said, Evan, I think you'd be great at like marriage, couple, family counseling. I don't know if you remember that,
I
but
do.
it just struck me. Maybe this is something that I really want to pursue
Mhm.
because I have a professional who is advocating and trying to uplift me into a profession that they think you're already excelling in all these areas. I think you have the ability to exceed in these as well. And I knew I had always wanted to go into psychology just based on kind of the past experiences I already talked about in this interview, but I just knew that I wanted to help and serve people within my community, no matter how grandiose of a scale or a level. It starts with the individual.
Yeah, well, that message continues to be 1,000% true, man. I just see that in you and your lived experience, your personality, the way that you enter into conversation and into relationship. It's not that I'm a licensed mental health therapist, but I'm adjacent and I just get to see a world where you thrive in that space and you
Yeah.
have so much to offer in that space. Having gone to counseling myself, we need Evan Thomases in this world. So, yeah, power to you as you move forward. Way to go, man. That's really exciting.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I know these next 2 years ahead are really intensive when it comes to practicum and internships on top of the educational aspect. Even for people who don't really know what it's like at a master's level or even a bachelor's degree, you need to rely on people within your community. I have a cohort set up of like less than 20 people.
Yeah.
And I know that for the rest of my future career, I'm going to be relying on collaborating with these
Mm.
colleagues of mine. So you have to think the long run. It's okay to say, can't do this by myself. I need support from like-minded people. I need support from professionals and my colleagues to be successful so that I can be successful in serving those that are seeking my services.
Yeah. Yeah. That's such a great message. And it actually is a great segue into our big three questions for today. And these big three questions are brought to us through the support, as always, from the Saxon Success Fund. The Saxon Success Fund is a nonprofit organization that raises money to invest in our school and our students through capital improvement projects and college scholarships, all with the goal and purpose to transform South High from one of the best schools in the state to one of the best schools in the nation. Thanks to all of our supporters and our alumni and our Saxon community. If any of our listeners would like to get involved, they can go to saxonsuccessfund.org for more information. And I'm going to add a bonus question to this one. So bonus question, we'll start with this. Evan, there's a quote hanging over my shoulder. It's been in my office here at South since the day I started, and it is Memorize Grace. And it's from Bob Goff, one of my very favorite authors. And my daughter, of all people, had asked one thing. She said, "Hey, you should ask anyone you interview what Memorize Grace means." And so I'll start with that question today. Bonus question, thanks to Lucille Marshall. Evan, what does Memorize Grace mean to you?
Just at first glance, and the thoughts coming to my head is memorizing grace doesn't only mean extending that to other people. It means having that for yourself. Kind of like I previously said, we can be our own biggest self-critics. Give yourself some grace.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do. And then tomorrow's issues for tomorrow. Focus on being in the now and the present, and give yourself some slack, you know? You're doing enough. You're good enough.
Yeah, such a good word. And it's honestly that message originally put it in here for students to come in and just to give themselves the grace. And I'll tell you, every day that I walk into my office, I see that. And it's much more a reminder to myself. Same connect with the fact that I am my biggest critic, and I will go many different stops before I get to grace. There are a lot of messages that I'm saying to myself with high standards. And so for me, memorizing grace has been just as compassionate of a message to myself as it has hopefully to anyone who else comes in my office. So yeah, thanks for speaking on that. I know Lucille will be pumped to hear it too. So official question number one, knowing who you are today and all that you've accomplished, mentioned a few people so far, but who would you point to as, or who are the people you would point to as having been impactful?
I have to say my immediate family, especially with the passing of my mom, my dad, brother, and sister. You know, we've not only since that day, even before that, but especially since that day, we have been a unit. And I know we're all kind of in different places in life now, like college, work, etc. At the end of the day, we're always together. We're a unit. And that goes to all my family friends, my loved ones, amazing staff, like here at South Salem High School. I mean, you guys have some amazing staff here.
It's true.
Especially university professors and my girlfriend especially. She's always my number one go-to supporter. So
love that. Yeah. Question two, if you could go back and speak to ninth grade Evan, what advice would you give your former high school self?
I would say two things. One of them is, and I briefly talked about this earlier, but in order for you to be the most successful person you can be honest, take agency. And in order for you to be successful, I think as a human being, you need honesty, you need agency, and you need purpose. And I think with these three attributes, you can be, this isn't about like financial, I think just you as a human being, a compassionate human being for others. I think with these qualities, you can go so many places. It just does not stop. And if I was talking to my ninth grade self, I would say, don't compare yourself to others. For those listening, or even those currently in high school or middle school, or no matter where you're at in life, if you compare yourself to someone else's personal journey, it's going to look completely different for where you want to go. One of your friends maybe wants to be a doctor, an engineer, or even a mental health therapist. The steps that it takes to get there is much different. And if you compare yourself to those people, thinking that those same steps along the way are going to reach the same outcome, it just doesn't happen.
Yes, that comparison trap that we can fall into, especially these days with social media, constantly comparing ourselves to others. And yeah, what a great message for me to hear, honestly, but also for all of our students as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Question 3. If you could transform South Salem High School, or the version you remember about South, what you know about who we are as a school and our community, what would you add or change about this place?
I had so many great experiences. If I could add anything, I would have it's curriculum based. I would have a little bit more educational knowledge on like personal finances in terms of like life coaching. For these are some big words, but like Roth IRAs and 401ks. I know that, whenever you hear your parents bring this up, it's like, oh, a bunch of adult talk, a whole bunch of kind of nonsense, but it's waiting. It's inevitable. So I think being as literate in the sense of education, I think being aware of these things and how you can best make yourself successful.
Well, I have great news. The state of Oregon agrees. And as of this year, not this graduating class, but the next graduating class has to take a personal finance class. And that is very much embedded into everything we do now, part of the 24 credits that students need to graduate state of Oregon. And not that we still can't add more. And I think about financial algebra and how it integrates with some of that as well, taxes, investing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's so important. And it is the message that we continue to hear from our graduates like, hey, we need more of blank. And that's usually what blank is. So yeah, it's great. Let's jump into our rapid fire questions too. And these ones are brought to us by Bickler Dentistry. Bickler Dentistry, your experience is comfortable, it's personalized, it's stress-free. Whether you need a routine cleaning or advanced restorative treatment, the team at Bickler uses the latest technology to keep your smile healthy and confident. Discover compassionate care and exceptional results right here in South Salem at Bickler Dentistry, owned and operated by 2009 Saxon Graduate, friend of the podcast, Dr. Corey Bickler. Rapid fire questions for you. I know you don't have a lot of time in school right now working all of that, but favorite TV show or movie?
TV show is hard, but my movie is Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. It's a tearjerker, it's a roller coaster, but it's powerful.
Yeah. How about favorite class that you took in college?
I have 2, developmental psychopathology and environmental history of the U.S.
Okay.
It's a lot more convoluted than just the title, but it's really interesting.
Yeah, it sounds complex for sure. A favorite spot to eat in Salem?
I would say Gambaretti's. I love that.
Interesting, because they just showed up on, had posted something earlier for another spotlight we did, and on the algorithm feed was ad for Gambaretti. So that's twice in one day. I think I got to go.
This is a sign.
It is a sign. Yeah. All right. Favorite class in high school, or the one that you feel like you've used most?
I think the one that I've used most is IB English, because that APA doesn't go anywhere. I mean, you will never escape it. It's going to be with you for the rest of your life.
A favorite place you've ever traveled?
Leon, Mexico.
Tell us about Leon, Mexico.
It's beautiful. I went there with my girlfriend to see some of her extended family, and it's a great experience. It's totally different than the US. Everyone's happy, no matter where they're at. You just walk down the street, all these local vendors, there's so much to do, great people, a lot of new things compared to, I guess, being right here in Salem, Oregon.
Sure.
But it's an eye-opener, and I think it's good to extend your perspective outside of what you know and what is comfortable.
Any shout outs you want to give?
Shout out to Spencer Elliott, fellow Saxon alum, and 2021 graduate.
Yep.
We went to Oregon State together, and we were roommates basically the whole time. And right now he is an engineer, civil engineer.
Spencer.
Shout out to Spencer.
Yeah, well,
come down here.
This may answer the next question, but who else should we interview? What other Saxon grads?
Gosh, there's too many people to pick.
I know.
For my year specifically, you know her, we know her, Gracie Fredenberg.
Yeah.
It's
Congrats
best friends since preschool.
Yep.
We've super great friend of mine. So
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
whenever she's in town,
yes.
yeah, shout out you, Gracie.
So, Evan, anything last that you want to share that would be important for anyone listening to know about you, or any other messages you want to share?
I think I said a lot of the things, but I guess kind of going back to that mental health thing, no matter where you're at, just make sure you find someone that you can share it with, because just keeping it to yourself, bottled up, it's emotionally, is mentally, and physically taxing. And having that safe space with such amazing counselors like here at South Salem, or even outside, just find a trusted individual, because it's important. It's really important.
Yeah, it is. And I've been the beneficiary of so many people who have offered that to me in my times of my hardest periods of life. And so to see you now get to go do that as well to others, man, I cannot be more pumped for your future. Thank you so much, Evan, for being in the spotlight and for being someone that we can point to and connect our current students to. Can't wait to share your story with all of them and get that message out there. So appreciate you jumping on today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be back here. And I look forward to listening to this and probably being, I don't know, a little anxious or cringing at myself a little bit, but this is great. And I'm really glad to be here and catch up with you.
Yeah, not at all, brother. You don't need to cringe at all. And just remember that message. Memorize grace.
Yeah, memorize grace, guys.
Yes.
That's what's important.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
As you could tell, all love for my guy, Evan Thomas. What a gift it was to reconnect with him. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks as always to our sponsors, Corey Bickler at Bickler Dentistry, Matt Cox at Saxon Properties, and Saxon Success Fund. We got another great one coming your way next week. Class of 1983. Stay tuned for that. Go Saxons.